Imagine settling in to watch the Vice President of the United States in a high-stakes town hall just 12 days before Election Day, only to find yourself squinting at the screen and wondering whether you've stumbled into a comedy of evasions. That's exactly the sense Fox News host Dana Perino captured when she called Kamala Harris's CNN appearance almost professionally insulting. Viewers tuned in expecting precise policy prescriptions, clear priorities, and the kind of command that comes from time spent in both the Senate and the White House. Instead, they got a series of winding explanations and platitudes that left even seasoned commentators shaking their heads. On The Five, Perino, Bill McGurn, and Harold Ford Jr. replayed moments that they described as head-scratchers from Harris's town hall in Philadelphia. They zeroed in on three broad themes: the soaring price of groceries, the specter of tax hikes tied to job loss projections, and Harris's faith routine. In each case, the vice president provided answers so nuanced or circuitous that the hosts insisted she never quite landed on a concrete plan or an unambiguous commitment. When an audience member asked what Harris would do about the high cost of groceries, the vice president acknowledged the problem and said it needed to be addressed in a number of ways. She suggested taking a fresh look at the Senate filibuster but offered no specific path forward, no proposal for modifying cloture rules, no timetable for negotiations, and no clear linkage between that change and the supermarket shelf. To the Fox panel, that amounted to a textbook case of word salad, an answer heavy on sincerity but light on substance. Next came the dreaded question of taxes. Bill McGurn raised a scenario in which Harris's economic plan could cost 700,000 jobs. Would that mean higher taxes? Harris responded by admitting she wasn't perfect and likening governance to parenting. If you've ever raised a child, you make mistakes. Again, she skirted around precise figures, refusing to say whether or by how much taxes might rise or fall. The hosts treated her circular response as evidence that she lacked the readiness to tackle hard questions, a surprising flaw for someone who's spent years practicing on Capitol Hill and in the cabinet room. A lighter moment arose when Anderson Cooper asked if Harris prayed every day. She said yes, sometimes twice, she quipped. McGurn ribbed her that on tougher mornings, maybe even more than twice. But the panel's real point was that such an exchange, which made headlines, underscored how little substantive policy made it on the air. Amid grocery lines, filibusters, and taxes, the conversation circled back to faith simply because there was nothing sturdier to discuss. The New York Times later distilled the town hall into two takeaways. First, Trump could be worse. Second, Harris gave long, meandering replies. Some of her responses stretched 3 to 5 minutes before CNN cut in, leaving viewers more puzzled than convinced. Perino and her co-hosts echoed that view, insisting that a final stretch candidate must hone 3 to 5 core messages and hammer them home relentlessly. Instead, Harris seemed to drift from topic to topic, offering generalities about opportunity and people's struggles without a single bullet point plan. On CNN that night, Dana Bash and David Axelrod likewise lamented that Harris failed to close the deal. Axelrod warned of word salad city, and Bash questioned why anyone with years of public service under her belt would flee back into vague talking points when pressed. Their critique matched the tone of Fox's panel. The lack of direct answers was jarring for a candidate in the campaign's final 2 weeks, when every moment counts and every second on camera is an opportunity to persuade undecided voters. Perino admitted feeling professionally insulted that Harris and her team had taken a full day to prepare, but still arrived without tight, bulletproof answers to the most basic questions. The hosts pointed out that Harris could have listed her top 4 legislative goals: border security, tax credits for first-time homeowners and small businesses, regulatory reform to spur growth, and the restoration of Roe v. Wade, and repeated them like a mantra. Instead, she wandered through character critiques of Trump and high-minded abstractions about democracy, offering none of the nitty-gritty that might resonate with grocery line Americans. Meanwhile, the campaign was banking on star power to lift Harris's standing. Michelle Obama was set to headline support events, and Bruce Springsteen and other Hollywood figures had already taken the stage. But even those celebrity surrogates can't plug a messaging hole when the candidate herself can't articulate her own platform. The hosts agreed that no matter how inspiring a Michelle Obama speech might be, it can't erase doubts about Harris's command of policy details or her ability to convey them clearly. Viewer comments beneath the video replay painted an unflattering portrait. One user quipped that Harris facing off with Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, or Vladimir Putin would be an embarrassment to our entire country. Another compared swapping Biden for Harris to cropping your pants and changing your shirt, a crude metaphor that nonetheless captured widespread frustration. Reactions clustered around words like evasiveness, incompetence, and word salad, each amassing hundreds of likes and dozens of replies. The consensus: Harris showed up unprepared and left viewers wanting. Despite the uproar on cable news and social media, the overall impact on polling has been minimal. Aggregators like 538 found virtually no shift in approval or disapproval for Harris or the Biden-Harris ticket following the town hall. That suggests either a large fraction of voters didn't watch the event, or those who did had their pre-existing impressions reinforced rather than changed. In tight races, small margins matter, but this appearance alone is unlikely to swing the needle dramatically. Still, perception is important in any campaign's final days. Republicans have long sought to paint the administration as incompetent, and Harris's stumbles fed directly into that narrative. Candidates in a closing sprint normally codify and repeat their 3 to 5 marquee issues until they become indelible in voters' minds. Harris's inability to do so left a vacuum that her critics were more than happy to fill. In politics, a candidate who can't articulate her own vision risks being defined by opponents, and that risk was on full display that evening in Philadelphia. Looking ahead, the lessons for any campaign or any spokesperson are clear. First, prepare precise, bite-sized answers for the toughest questions. Second, limit your core messages to a handful of pillars you can repeat under fire. Third, simulate hostile interviews to practice steering back to your talking points. And fourth, if you feel yourself drifting into endless explanation, pause and deliver a one-sentence summary of what you'll actually do. In these final 12 days, the Biden-Harris team needs razor-sharp messaging and relentless focus. A stumbling town hall may not topple them, but it's a squandered chance to connect on issues that matter most: inflation, jobs, healthcare, and civil rights. In the home stretch, every word counts, and right now, the words word salad and professionally insulting have lodged themselves firmly in voters' minds. A campaign cannot afford such a legacy when every vote is on the line.